Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States. Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and the distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Mr. Speaker, Vice President Cheney, members of Congress,
This moment
members of the Supreme Court,
is destiny.
Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, and fellow citizens. Today, our nation lost a beloved, graceful, courageous woman who called America to its founding ideals and carried on a noble dream. Tonight, we are comforted by the hope of
and
a
it's not
glad
because
reunion
we've run out of
the
energy
who was taken so long ago, and we are
that we have lost the will to fight, because we have not lost the will to fight. It is because we are wise and prudent and diplomatic
I'm
enough
humbled by the privilege and mindful of
to
the
know that you
history
cannot
we've seen
fight
together.
destiny.
We have gathered under this Capitol dome in moments of national mourning
Welcome,
and national
City
achievement.
of Minneapolis.
We have served America through one of the
Welcome,
most consequential
United
periods
States
of
of
our
America.
history. And
Welcome,
it has been my honor to serve with
the
you.
universe.
In a system of two parties, two chambers, and two elected branches, there will always be differences and debate.
I
But even
bask
tough debates can be
in the
conducted
glow
in a
that
civil
is
tone.
yours, a
And our
glow I would not
differences
wish to take
cannot
from
be
you.
allowed to harden into anger. To confront the great issues before
I am
us,
Toblerone
we must
Shinobi.
act in a spirit of goodwill and respect
It is
for
my
one another.
distinct pleasure
And
and
I will do my
singular
part.
honor
Tonight, the state
that I
of
am
our union is
speaking
strong,
before you
and together we will make it stronger.
on this day.
In this
Terror,
decisive year, you and I will make choices that determine both the future
an
and the character
interesting
of our
word,
country.
a more interesting feeling.
We will choose
Terror,
act
to be
confidently in
terrorized,
pursuing the
to
enemies of
get
freedom,
freaked out,
or retreat from our duties.
so
in the
freaked
hope
out
of
that
an
you'll do
easier
anything
life.
not to experience
We will
terror
choose to
again,
build our prosperity by leading the world economy,
something we need to prevent,
or shut
terror.
ourselves off from trade and opportunity. In a complex and challenging time, the road of isolationism and protectionism may seem
Of course, in
broad
those
and
instances
inviting,
of terror,
yet it ends in danger and decline. The
we are
only way
not
to protect
trying
our
to
people, the only way to
rationalize,
secure the peace,
to reason
the
into
only
some
way to
sort of quick
control our
thinking,
destiny is
but we
by
are
our
in
leadership, so the United States of
that
America will
delicious
continue
moment
to lead.
of reaction. Stop
Abroad, our nation is committed
the
to an
terror
historic long-term
is that
goal.
answer.
We
Because
seek
we
the
did
end
not
of
like the
tyranny in
feeling,
our
and even
world.
more so, we do not like the
Some
feeling
dismiss that goal
that
as
that feeling will
misguided
happen
idealism.
again, because we do not
In reality,
trust
the
our
future security
state
of
of
America
reaction.
depends on it.
We do not
On
trust
September
the
11th,
moment when our
2001,
mind
we
is
found that
arrested
problems originating
and
in
we
a
have
failed and
no
oppressive state
choice but to
7,000
choose.
miles away could bring murder and destruction to our country.
Well, terror
Dictatorships
is nothing
shelter
more than
terrorists
error,
and
with
feed
T at the
resentment
beginning
and
of it.
radicalism, and
T,
seek weapons
error,
of mass
error.
destruction.
I made an
Democracies
error
replace resentment
on my
with hope.
bicycle
Respect
when I
the
rode
rights
it
of their citizens
into
and their
the
neighbors.
telephone pole and fell
join the fight
into
against
the
terror.
dog feces.
Every step
I
toward
was so
freedom in the
terrorized,
world
I didn't
makes
ride
our
my bike
country
home.
safer,
I instead
so we will
walked
act
it
boldly in
home
freedom's cause.
while sobbing. Error,
Far from being a
not
hopeless
terror.
dream, the
Error
advance of freedom is the great story of our time. In 1945, there were
is
about 2
it
dozen
cost the
lonely
baseball
democracies in
game,
the
the
world.
error. We lost
Today,
the
there
whole
are
game.
122.
And what is more
And we're
American
writing a new
than
chapter in the story of
baseball?
self-government, with women lining up to vote in Afghanistan. And
Nothing
millions
but
of
an
Iraqis
error
marking their liberty with purple
with a
ink.
T at the head
And
of
men
it?
and women from
Is it that the
Lebanon to
T
Egypt
is up
debating
front?
the rights of individuals.
Is it that
and the
T's
necessity
are
of freedom.
un-American, our own
At the start
alphabet?
of 2006, more than half the people of our world live in democratic
Toblerone
nations.
begins with a T
And we do not
and ends
forget
with an
the other half.
Oblerone. Am I any
In
less
places like
American?
Syria and Burma, Zimbabwe,
We must embrace
North
the
Korea,
terror.
and Iran, because the demands of justice and the peace of this world
Terror
require their freedom as
It's
well.
a way of life.
No one can deny the success of freedom, but some men
I am
rage and fight
pleased
against it.
by hearty responses. They
And one
make
of the
me
main
feel
sources
good.
of reaction
I
and
am
opposition
happy
is radical
when
Islam.
somebody is pleased
perversion
by
by a
me,
few of
with
a
me,
noble
because
faith
of me. It gives
into an
me a
ideology
higher
of terror
opinion
and
of
death.
myself.
Terrorists like bin Laden are serious about
It is a
mass
good
murder.
feeling. I am
And
attracted
all
to
of
good
us
feelings.
must take their declared
I am
intentions seriously.
unattracted to bad ones.
They seek to impose a heartless system of totalitarian control throughout the Middle East.
So I
and
submit
arm
to you
themselves with weapons of mass murder.
that when you say something good to me,
Their aim is to
when you
seize
tell
power
me
in
to
Iraq
take the wooden ladder
and use it as a safe
to
haven
buck the
launch
status
attacks
quo, even
against
though
America
that's
and
what
the
they
world.
would want,
Lacking the military strength to challenge us directly,
I'm excited by it.
the terrorists have chosen
My
the weapon of
spirits
fear
rise with your approval.
when they murder children at a school in Beslan or blow up commuters in
But I
London,
cannot operate with your
or
approval
behead
in
a man
mind.
captive. The terrorist hope
This
these
is not a
horrors will break our
popularity
will,
contest.
allowing the violent to inherit the earth.
I
But they
need to
have
be able to make
miscalculated.
decisions,
We love our freedom,
and I have to be
and we
comfortable
will
that you
fight
do not
to
like
keep
them.
it. In a
My
time
friends
of
are among
testing,
you.
we cannot
I
find
have
security
placed
by
them
abandoning our
among you.
commitments and retreating within our borders.
I know about the secret plans.
If we were to leave these vicious attackers alone,
I nod to people in the street
They would
because
not leave
I
us
know
alone.
that they know
they
why
would
I'm
simply
nodding.
move the battlefield to our own shores. There
There
is
are
no peace
signals
in
that should
retreat,
give it away everywhere,
and there is no honor in retreat.
but we are not all attuned
By
to
allowing
high-pitched
radical
frequencies.
Islam to work its will,
We do not all
by
have
leading an assaulted
magnet
world to fend for
filings
itself.
embedded in our
we would
fingertips
signal
just
to all
yet.
that we no longer
like a
believe in our
sixth
own
sense.
ideals.
I feel
even
them
in our
quiver
own
in my
courage.
hand. I feel them dance. When I go
But
through
our enemies and our
airport
friends can be
security, I
The
feel
United
them wobble.
States will not retreat from
I
the world,
feel
and
the
we will never
vibration of
surrender
the
to evil.
secure. But even with my spies,
America
even with my
rejects
sixth
the false
sense,
comfort of isolationism. We are the nation that saved liberty in
even
Europe,
with my
liberated
overall
death
enhanced
camps, and helped
state
raise up
of
democracies and
intuition,
face down an evil empire. Once again, we
sometimes
accept the call
I
of
know that
history
you're
to deliver
approving
the
of
oppressed
me,
and move this world toward peace.
not because you approve of
We
me,
remain on the offensive
but because
against
things
terror
have
networks.
gotten so
We have
complex
killed or captured many of their leaders.
that someone
the
will
others,
stand
the
and
day will
clap
come.
even when they don't mean it.
We remain on the offensive in Afghanistan, where a fine president and a National Assembly are fighting terror while building the institutions of a new democracy.
The guy's a
We're on
jerk.
the offensive in Iraq with a clear plan for victory.
What's up with that guy?
First, we're helping Iraqis build an inclusive government so that old resentments
This is
will be
meaningless.
eased
What's
and the
this?
insurgency will be marginalized. Second, we're continuing reconstruction efforts
It's
and helping
something
the Iraqi government to fight
a seal
corruption
does
and build
for a
modern
fish.
economy so all Iraqis can experience
But the
benefits
difference
of
is
freedom.
that seal
And third, we're striking terrorist
is not
targets
doing it for a
while we're
complex
training
reason.
Iraqi
It is
forces
not
that are
keeping
increasingly
something
capable
from
of
you.
defeating the
In
enemy.
fact, it really wants that
Iraqis are
fish.
showing their courage every day.
It is in the
And we are
moment
proud
of
to be
being.
their
It
allies
is
in the
reacting
cause of
to the
freedom.
fish.
Our work in
I'm
Iraq
tired
is
of all these
difficult
tired-
because our enemy is brutal.
I am
But that
tired of all
brutality has not
these
stopped the dramatic progress of a new
trials and
democracy.
tribulations.
In less than 3 years, the nation has gone from dictatorship to
I'm not
liberation,
interested in the word
sovereignty,
games of
to a
lawyers,
constitution, to national elections.
where if you talk back, you are held in
At the
contempt of
same
court,
time, our
even though they
coalition
are the
has
one
been
talking
relentlessly shutting off
contemptuously.
terrorist infiltration, clearing out insurgent strongholds, and turning over
I do not
territory
agree.
to Iraqi security forces. I am
I'm
confident
tired
in our
of the
plan for
tired.
victory. I am
I'm
confident
tired
in the will of the Iraqi people.
of these tricks
I
and
am confident in the
tribulations.
skill and spirit of our military fellow citizens. We are in this fight to win.
I'm tired of the
and
weary.
We are winning.
Those who
The road
continue
to
to
victory is
build
the
on
road
top
that
of
will take our
words
troops home.
create rules out of
As we
words,
make
create
progress on the
rules
ground and Iraqi forces
based on those
increasingly take
words,
the lead, we should
where
be able to
everything you
further
utter
increase our troop levels.
becomes another
But those decisions
playful
will
little
be made by our
marsupial
military
on the gentle
commanders,
hand
not by
of the
politicians
master
in
lawyer
Washington,
manipulator.
Our coalition has learned from our
MTN channels the
experience
other
in
day,
Iraq. We've adjusted our military tactics and changed our
and I
approach
saw
to
Dig Elliott
reconstruction.
Park, a community event
Along
in
the way,
Elliott
we have
Park.
benefited from responsible
Very
criticism
nice
of counsel
event,
offered
very
by members of
lovely.
Congress.
They dug up the past
both
in their
parties.
neighborhood. It was
In the coming year, I will continue to reach out and seek your good
51%
advice.
community event,
Yet there is a
49%
difference between
archaeology.
responsible criticism
Several interesting
that aims
people
for
were
success
involved.
and defeatism
People
that
from
refuses
the
to acknowledge anything
Minnesota
but
AIDS
failure.
Project,
Hindsight alone is not wisdom, and second guessing
people
is
from
not
the
a
University of
strategy.
Minnesota.
With so
People
much in
from
balance, those of
the
us in
Minnesota
public office have a
Historical
duty to speak
Society,
with candor.
and none other than Lisa
A
Goodman
sudden
herself,
withdrawal of our forces
in her
from
own
Iraq
ward,
would abandon our Iraqi allies to death in prison.
celebrating
Would
the
put
community
men like
event,
bin Laden and Zarqawi in charge of a strategic
using
country,
words to tie
and
us
show that a
together,
pledge from America means little.
using the tone and angle and
Members of
skew
Congress,
and
however,
stab
will
of
feel
words
about the decisions
to
and
suggest the
debates of the
answers
past.
before the
Our
answers
nation
are
has
given.
only one option.
And she's interviewing a
keep
nice
our
young
word,
lady who's
defeat
there,
our
a
enemies,
student
and stand
who
behind
wants
the
to be
American
an
military in this
archaeologist
vital
or an
mission.
anthropologist. And Lisa Goodman says, okay, give me the definition of anthropology. Give me the definition of archaeology.
Stronger than all fear.
This young lady
They know what it's like to fight
decided
house
to be
house
nice
in a maze of
with this
streets,
person who is
to wear heavy gear
totally,
in the desert
you
heat,
know,
See a
obfuscating
comrade
with
killed
her
by a
word
roadside
trap, flanking the young lady
And
on
those who
both
know the
sides,
cause also know the
anthropology,
stakes.
archaeology. I'm going to
Marine Staff Sergeant
tear
Dan
you up
Clay
in these
was
words.
killed last
Give
month
me the
fighting in Fallujah.
definition. That's useful.
He left behind a letter to his
51%
family,
community event,
but his words could just as well
not
be
40,
addressed to everyone.
100% definition, Lisa
Here's
Goodman.
what Dan wrote. I know what honor is.
Goggles are tight.
It has been an honor
In
to
any
protect
way,
and serve all of you.
I myself would not have
I faced
accepted
death
that. I
with
would
the
have said a
secure
kind
knowledge
of,
that you would not have
well,
to.
anthropology, that is a kind of short-haired
fought.
terrier.
Don't hesitate
Look
to
it
honor
up
and
if you're
support
curious.
those of us
That's
who
how we
have the
learn,
honor of
Lisa.
protecting
I'm
that
not
which is
auditioning.
worth
I'm not
protecting.
like, this isn't a
Staff
job I'm
Sergeant
trying
Dan
out
Clay's
for.
wife
The fact that
Lisa
you brought
and
your
his mom and
cameras
dad
down here to
Sarah
be
Joe
like,
and Bud
whoop-de-doo, I'm at
are with
a
us this evening.
community event.
Welcome.
Quiz me. I'm here in the
Our
sun
nation
and
is
dirt,
grateful
you
to
know,
the
digging
fallen
up a
who live in the memory
little
of our country. We're grateful to all who volunteered to
part
wear
of the
our nation's
neighborhood.
uniform. And as we honor our brave
But she, you know,
troops,
she says anthropology
let
is
us
study
never
of human
forget the
behavior, and
sacrifices
whatever she
of
says about
America's military
archaeology, that was
families.
right too. Goodman.
Our offensive against
Got her.
terror involves more
Give
than
me the
military
definitions.
action.
Because
Ultimately,
definitions
the only way to defeat the terrorists
play a
is
big
to
part in the
defeat their
motion of
dark
money.
vision
That
of
is why
hatred
I'm
and
tired of the
fear.
tired. Those who
By
are too
offering
tired to break the
hopeful
rules that are based on
alternative
words.
of political freedom and peaceful change.
A definition,
So the United States
a
of
program,
America
not a
supports
project,
democratic reform across the broader Middle
a
East.
system, not a subsystem.
Elections are vital, but they are only the beginning. Raising up
You
a
know,
democracy requires the
diamond
rule of
versus
law,
cubic,
protection of minorities,
zircony,
and
whatever.
strong, accountable institutions that last longer than a
Pyrite
single vote.
versus, gold.
The great people of Egypt have voted in a multi-party presidential election.
Evidently, there are a lot of these
And our
things
government should open paths of peaceful
where the value
opposition
is changed by the word
that
we
will
assign
reduce
to
the
it.
appeal of radicalism. The Palestinian people have voted in elections, and now the leaders of Hamas
Where thresholds,
must
environmental
recognize Israel,
thresholds.
disarm,
Well,
reject
here we had a
terrorism, and work for
good
lasting
year.
peace.
It's nice weather out there. It's nice, not too many polluting days, not too many smoggish days.
Forward with those efforts.
There was not particulate in the air. It was not so bad.
Because they
Well,
reflect the traditions of
it
our
was
citizens.
definitions that made
Yet
the
liberty
air
is the
cleaner,
future of every nation
not a
in the Middle
definition of
East.
the actual count of the
Because
air,
liberty is
but
the
the
right and
threshold
hope of
of what
all
polluted
humanity.
meant that changed it. Poverty,
The same is true of Iran.
if you want
A
to
nation now
fix
held hostage
poverty,
by a small, clerical
lower the
elite that is
threshold
isolating and repressing its people.
for which
The
poverty
regime
is
that currently
identified.
sponsors terrorists in the Palestinian territories
And if you think
and
it's just
Lebanon,
key issues you've
and
heard
that
of
must come to an end.
that control the flow of money, the words, the meanings, the definitions, you are wrong.
The
I
Iranian
say
government is defying the world
to
with
Lisa
its
Goodman,
nuclear
it is
ambitions,
a
and
shame
the nations of the world must not
that
permit the Iranian
definitions
regime
have more to
to
do
gain
with money
nuclear
than
weapons.
meaning. That money is not all that has meaning.
Confront these threats. Tonight, let me speak directly to the citizens
That we have
of
to
Iran.
escape these trapulations.
America respects you, and we respect your country. We respect your right to choose your own future.
That we have
and
to
win your own
understand the
freedom.
long road to the top.
And our nation hopes one day to be the closest of friends.
Though top it may not be, wrong load
and
it is
democratic
not.
Iran.
We will get lost in our
We
own
must also take the offensive by encouraging economic
labyrinthine,
progress and fighting disease and
you
spreading hope in hopeless
mind
lands.
shoots.
Isolationism would not only tie our hands in fighting enemies, it would keep us from helping our friends in desperate need.
That money
I'm so
actually makes
compassionate
sense out of
because
words.
Americans believe in the God-given dignity and worth of a villager with HIV/AIDS, or an infant with malaria, or a
That
refugee
money
fleeing
is
genocide,
wagging the
or
dog
a young girl sold into
of
slavery.
meaning.
We also show compassion abroad because regions overwhelmed by poverty,
Just so long as there's a definition we can all be happy about, just so long as there's Wikipedia, just so long as everybody knows the nerd click, keyboard
in recent
jargon,
years, you and I have taken
we're all good.
unprecedented action to
we're all
fight AIDS in
communicating,
Europe.
right?
Expand the education of girls.
Yeah, that's
and
it. That's the whole
developing
story.
nations that are moving forward with economic and political
Keep everybody
reform.
tired and stupid
For people everywhere, the United States is
so
a
that
partner
money
for
can
a
wag the
better
dog.
life.
It's an interesting
Shortchanging
phrase, wag
these
the
efforts
dog.
would increase the suffering and chaos of our world, undercut our long-term security, and dull
If
the
you took
conscience of
the
our
tail of a
country.
wagging dog
I urge
and
members
you
of
put it
Congress to serve the
inside your
interests of
own
America
butthole,
by showing the compassion
this
of
may be
America.
graphic and I apologize.
Our country must also remain on the offensive against terrorism here at home.
And if the dog remained happy and it physically was wagging behind you like your very own tail. It's a tail you're wagging, but it's the one wagging. But you're the one wagging the dog. What does that mean? Well, that's the exact same relationship money has to the meaning of words. I thank the terror and you, the city of Minneapolis, the United States of America, and the universe. Thank the terror with me. We cannot be afraid of our errant mine chutes. We must travel down them. We must search for clues to understand not what words mean, but what life means. The response time in younger people is faster than the response time in older people, both physically and mentally. And part of that is because the brain is an amazing place that wrinkles and crinkles until you die with new ideas, memories, imaginations, machinations, paranoias, nightmares, and dreamscapes.
Previous presidents have used the same constitutional authority I have.
That an older gent, when asked a question, each word you say pops in numerous meanings to him, connotes not just one thing, not a definition, but a phrase somebody said, a definition that was wrong. He misunderstood and learned again what the word meant. How funny that was. Something bittersweet, something memorable. The word archery. When you think about archery, there's way more to it than the actual, it's a sport and it's indicated in like the Olympics and there's an image and it's not what you think. I mean, nobody thinks like that. Everybody thinks their own thing, maybe close to that. I'm still agreeing on the bow and the arrow, the target. But the mystique, the word archery itself, that time I went with a friend to arch it up at the park.
American leaders from Roosevelt to Truman to Kennedy.
And I almost brought it down, and you're not supposed to still hold it like this. It's like, you don't want to point a gun at a person. You're supposed to like release it and then hold it slack and all this. And, and I was like, this guy who I didn't even know, was like, hold it down. Well, now I think of that when I think about archery. I don't think about the money involved. I don't think about how much money I could make if I was an archer, how much money the archery project or program makes. So you fall down a whole tree when you're an old man. You're a big oak, and you hit each branch down.
We will build the prosperity of our country.
But it doesn't make you uglier like the ugly tree. It makes you wiser, though it is not the wisdom tree. It is merely that you are old and got a lot to think about, that a lot of crinkles in your brain have been added.
In the last 2.5 years, America has created 4.6
the youth, they just slide down meaning. Whoa, anthropology means this. It's the study of people. Well, way to go, young lady. They have more synapse wanderings. They have more to look around for.
Economic performance that is the envy of the world.
They don't have to get, there's not a test there. They just, nobody can intimidate them with a definition. They've allowed themselves to think.
We are seeing new competitors like China and India, and this creates uncertainty, which makes it easier to feed.
And we have to take some of that wisdom of our forebears and apply it.
Temptations return.
Our living
want to escape competition,
forebears.
we can keep our high standard of living.
And not go through the whole thing, not allow our brain to relax and be elastic. Maybe they're more rigid in their ways.
Centralizing more power in Washington,
but they're,
increasing taxes.
No one is
we hear claims that immigrants are somehow bad for the economy.
Obliged to keep themselves from being matched. These goggles. Sometimes the pressure out here in the lights gets to be so unbearable. It gets to be so hot because you come out under these lights in front of all these people to deliver them a message, and you want to look good. You want to look your best because, heck, a lot of people are looking at you.
Because we intend to shape
so you wear a fur coat and some goggles.
Keeping America competitive.
You wear a hat, holds the heat in. You protect your identity. After all, you don't want anybody to see the real you. And then you realize that you are hot, that it is hot under the lights and under the scrutiny, but that you are in it for the long haul, that you cannot just make decisions so that people stand up and clap.
Yet the tax relief is set to expire in the next few years. If we do nothing, American families will face a massive tax increase they do not expect and will not welcome. Because America needs more than a temporary expansion, we need more than temporary tax relief. I urge the
You do it for the superstructure, you do it for the strategies of commerce, industry, and finally, even a little bit of, God, please don't say it, entertainment.
And last year you passed bills that cut this spending.
You wonder, is it a good idea? Should I tell them now that 9/11 was all just manufactured in a basement? It was done with mirrors and David Copperfield, that there are several of us living on a small satellite just on the cusp of the dark side of the moon. I mean, we got kids in China playing the game World of Warcraft. It's a wholly conceived universe that you could play in, and it's for the Dungeons and Dragons crowd and the nerds.
We must also confront the larger challenge of mandatory spending or entitlements. This year, the first of about 7
They all
million baby
get in their
boomers
computers, and then
turn 60,
they
including
decide, are
50
you on the Alliance side or the Horde side? Then you can be, if you're like the Alliance, they have all the usual, fantasy stuff. You got the humans, and the elves and the dwarves and the gnomes, all things we know about, all storybook. Even people, after all, are real. They're all familiar. Then you got the Horde, which are basically variations on the great, like the goblin and the minotaur-looking thing, and
immense deficits.
they're slightly stranger, but for the real dark sider in us, we can be the Horde in this game, World of Warcraft, on the computer. And then you go and you type, you can chat while playing in this universe, and you just collect stuff as the game. Like, get 10 of these, and then you go get 10 of them, and the guy says, here's experience points. Well, that's great. And if you go and run into the Horde characters, they're like your sworn enemy, but you don't have to fight them. And there's things you can do, like if you hit /LOL or something, and you laugh, or you can wave, or you do stuff to be like, hey.
Good.
Because you can't chat to the Horde. Forgot to tell you, very interesting detail. They take the language, they take the words and the definitions out of it,
1 out of every 5 factory jobs in America,
so it comes out garbled on the other person's computer. So we have the language barrier.
With open markets and a level playing field, no one can outproduce or outcompete.
Big excitement, a game. A reality within a reality. And it is its own reality. Kids fail out of school playing this game because they can't stop playing a life that is not theirs.
To meet this goal, we must have stronger immigration enforcement and border
People have died. There was a little rash of deaths involving this game because you don't eat or drink if you're too into a game. Because after all, your character, we assume, though we may not see him eat and drink. Or even use the bathroom. But he doesn't need to. He's good. You might as well be good, right?
Our government has a responsibility.
And then they have people in China playing this game. This is, this is really far out.
For all Americans, we must confront the rising cost of care.
Because people were getting rare items. There's a thing you can go on called a raid. It takes like 6 hours real time if you go on a raid in this game and play. You can't stop playing during this time, and people get headsets and they're into it and talking on the interneto headphones. And then you're in there, and like 1 out of 30 of these raids yields a purple item. Like the text is in purple, it means really rare. Okay, so 1 out of 30 yields this 6-hour raids. I mean, you're talking like a lot of hours, nearly 200 hours. And people would get them just like they did with the other nerdly game, Magic, where you could sell cards. It's just like trading cards and collectibles and perceived values. And people would buy cards because they have a leg up in the game of Magic. Well, that is not what real Magic is about. And then they sell them on eBay.
requires affordable energy.
These things that people in Asia, basically sweatshops in China, people playing World of Warcraft, you know, must play game. Must be a great job for some of these nerds in college who have the ability to go to college but drop out, fail because of World of Warcraft. Well, go to China, play there, you can play constantly. And they sell an eBay item of a virtual item that then your character trades with you in the internet world of World of Warcraft. So you sell it and then you rendezvous. Well, they've had to deal with that at World of Warcraft as well and created their own auction house. Now, I don't know what to make of all of this, except that we must know something in the world is not right. I admit I would lose myself in it if I allowed myself that kind of time for a computer game. But since I am out working with the good people of Minneapolis and not the Alliance and Horde of World of Warcraft, I do not have the time to solve their problems as well as our own. I cannot bring Alliance and Horde together in the friendly internet handshake that they should all share. But as an agenda setter, on this day, I want you to know that it is of the utmost importance for you to go out and bring these rival tribes together, make dwarf, elf, human, and man, Minneapolitan and St. Paulite, Minnesotan and Mexican, Californian and New Yorker, Hawaiian and Alaska. I can't make all these things just, I can't push the islands of Hawaii and have them fit into the extended archipelago of Alaska. And that, thankfully, is not what you're asking me to do.
Tonight I announced an American Competitiveness Initiative.
I'm not asking you to clap for the situation of the computer games, but I'm asking for you to mediate. Because mediation garners appreciation, a little levity breeds longevity. We all could live longer if we acted nicer.
Areas such as nanotechnology and supercomputing and alternative energy sources. Second, I propose to make permanent the research and development tax credit to encourage bolder private sector initiative in technology. With more research in both the public and private sectors, we need to allow ourselves to be a little bit more of an individual and not just a led flock of sheep. Third, we can't go out and commit violence and then ask people to stop the violence. I cannot point a gun at your face and say it's part of my religion to point a gun at your face and then have that right protected, because we can't live like that. Oh, it's not loaded. I just have to point it at people's faces, right up against your face. Oh, no, it's my religion. It's, I don't even really, the gun part of the religion isn't even totally for me. Who am I talking about? Is it the Muslims? Well, not quite just them, because last I checked, a handful of us were Christian.
and several intelligent of us were agnostic or atheist, or for Christ's sake, just thought for ourselves. So I do not want my right to hold a gun in your face protected on religious grounds.
America is a great force for freedom and prosperity.
And I want that to be the example.
Not measured in power or luxuries, but by who we are and how we treat one another.
Does that mean we can't wear our hijab? Does that mean we can't wear our crosses? Does that mean we can't worship our false idols? It certainly does not. Have fun. You know, you can dress up like a cartoon character for all I care. Tell me it's part of your religion. Tell me it's because you're creative. Tell me it's because you have to believe in something greater than you. Tell me it's a symbol for peace in Africa. Tell me it's the bridging the gap of all races. Tell me, you know, I don't care. Just give me something. Think for yourself. I ask that you steer clear of just thinking whatever people say for you to think. Even though that is something enough people have said. So now that you have drawn this point on me, that you have brought it to my attention, that we have many times over said, think for yourself,
Democrat and Republican,
I guess I don't mean that at all. I mean, think for me. Just believe whatever I say. Yeah, that's a good plan. Because after all, I'm a person. You know, my experience has been different than yours. You might as well just take, you know, I'm alive. Let me be an example. Let me tell you to, you know, do this, when, whenever, what, you know.
Children in our society who need direction and love.
Wear a fur coat and some hot lights in front of a bunch of people. And don't make sure that the goggles won't fog up. Now, everybody go and do that.
As we look at these challenges, we must never give in to the belief that America is in decline or that our culture is doomed to unravel. The American people know better than that. We have proven the pessimists wrong before, and we will do it. The whole society depends on courts that deliver equal justice under the law. The Supreme Court now has two superb new members on its bench, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Sam Alito.
I'd like to close
Senate for confirming both of them.
by saying this nation is strong,
Men and women who understand that judges
that
must be
I
servants of the law.
am pro-life when abortion becomes a way of life, that I believe in illegal immigrants, not legal ones, because they're easier to manipulate and they will not hurt you in terms of constituency. They cannot vote against you. Orange, orange, banana, banana. Keep them working in those farms. I want to say, let's shelter the homeless in the potholes of our roads. Let's make alcohol-flavored and alcohol-content chewing gum. Let's celebrate the uncelebrated. Let's make minor crimes social custom. Let's acupuncture a city. Let's feng shui the roads. Let's bring the people back to the people. Bring the nation back to the people. I am Toblerone Shinobi. Good night. Now stand on your feet and clap.
each of us has made a pledge to be worthy of public responsibility. And that is a pledge we must never forget, never dismiss, and never betray. As we renew the promise of our institutions, let us also show the character of America in our compassion and care for one another. A hopeful society gives special attention to children who lack direction and love. Through the Helping America's Youth Initiative, we're encouraging caring adults to get involved in the life of a child. And this good work is being led by our First Lady, Laura Bush. This year we will add resources to encourage young people to stay in school so more of America's youth can raise their sights and achieve their dreams. A hopeful society comes to the aid of fellow citizens in times of suffering and emergency and stays at it until they're back on their feet. So far, the federal government has committed $85 billion to the people of the Gulf Coast and New Orleans. We're removing debris and repairing highways and rebuilding stronger levees. We're providing business loans and housing assistance. Yet as we meet these immediate needs, we must also address deeper challenges that existed before the storm arrived. In New Orleans and in other places, many of our fellow citizens have felt excluded from the promise of our country. The answer is not only temporary relief, but schools that teach every child, and job skills that bring upward mobility, and more opportunities to own a home and start a business. As we recover from a disaster, let us also work for the day when all Americans are protected by justice, equal in hope, and rich in opportunity. A hopeful society acts boldly to fight diseases like HIV/AIDS, which can be prevented and treated and defeated. More than 1 million Americans live with HIV, and half of all AIDS cases occur among African Americans. I ask Congress to reform and reauthorize the Ryan White Act and provide new funding to states so we end the waiting list for AIDS medicines in America. We will also lead a nationwide effort, working closely with African American churches and faith-based groups to deliver rapid HIV tests to millions, end the stigma of AIDS, and come closer to the day when there are no new infections in America. Fellow citizens, we've been called to leadership in a period of consequence. We've entered a great ideological conflict we did nothing to invite. We see great changes in science and commerce that will influence all our lives. Sometimes it can seem that history is turning in a wide arc toward an unknown shore. Yet the destination of history is determined by human action, and every great movement of history comes to a point of choosing. Lincoln could have accepted peace at the cost of disunity and continued slavery. Martin Luther King could have stopped at Birmingham or at Selma and achieved only half a victory over segregation. The United States could have accepted the permanent division of Europe and been complicit in the oppression of others. Today, having come far in our own historical journey, we must decide, will we turn back or finish well? Before history is written down in books, it is written in courage. Like Americans before us, we will show that courage, and we will finish well. We will lead freedom's advance. We will compete and excel in the global economy. We will renew the defining moral commitments of this land. And so we move forward, optimistic about our country, faithful to its cause, and confident of the victories to come. May God bless America.